A woman rates herself a 9 out of 10 while rating the average man a 4. She demands a 6-foot-tall CEO who makes 6 figures, but when a man says he prefers someone who hasn't slept with half the city, suddenly he's shallow and misogynistic. She posts, "All men are trash" on social media, then cries discrimination when a man says he prefers feminine women. Let me explain why modern women are absolutely shocked when men finally treat them with the same energy they give us. No special treatment, no kid gloves, just pure equality. And spoiler alert, they can't handle it. Here's a simple experiment that reveals everything. Watch what happens when you apply the same standards to women that they apply to men. She says she won't date anyone under 6 feet. Tell her you won't date anyone over 140 pounds. She says she needs a man who makes 6 figures. Ask her what she brings besides expectations. She says men are stupid. Point out that most homeless people, prisoners and high school dropouts share her gender. Watch the meltdown. The same person demanding equality suddenly wants special treatment. The overestimation of value while judging harshly is epidemic. I've seen women who are genuinely 5s rating themselves as 9s while calling above-average men mid. There's this complete disconnect from reality. A woman working retail, living with roommates, with nothing exceptional about her, genuinely believes she deserves a top-tier man. Meanwhile, she's rejecting good men for having normal human flaws. Social media has convinced average women they're queens, deserving of king treatment. Every selfie gets hundreds of likes from thirsty men. Every dating app matches with dozens of options. This artificial validation creates a delusion of value. She thinks she's high value because men want to sleep with her, not understanding that men will sleep with anything moderately attractive and available. The open admission of disloyal behaviour is wild. Women will casually mention cheating like it's nothing. Yeah, I was talking to 3 guys while dating my ex. I keep backup options just in case. I flirt with his friends to keep him on his toes. But if a man even looks at another woman, he's a cheating pig who can't be trusted. The double standard is so normalised they don't even see it. I counselled a guy whose girlfriend admitted she'd cheated in every past relationship, but insisted she'd changed for him. 6 months later, guess what? She cheated. When confronted, she blamed him for not meeting her emotional needs. The accountability is completely absent. It's always someone else's fault when they betray trust. The entitlement with extreme expectations is breathtaking. Some women genuinely believe men owe them expensive dates, gifts, and attention just for existing. Not for being exceptional partners, not for bringing value, just for showing up with a pulse and a vagina. They'll say things like, "If he can't afford to take me somewhere nice, he shouldn't be dating." But ask what they're contributing financially, silence or anger. A client showed me his dates list of requirements. Must make $100,000 plus, must be 6 feet 2 inches plus, must have a luxury car, must own property, must be fit, must be funny, must be romantic. This woman, unemployed, living with parents, overweight, and bringing literally nothing but demands to the table. But in her mind, she deserves all this because she's a queen. The hookup culture damage to emotional bonding is severe. Women with high body counts wonder why they can't form deep connections anymore. Every study shows that multiple sexual partners, especially for women, damages pair bonding ability. But pointing this out is slut-shaming. They want to live like men sexually but still get treated like ladies romantically. Biology doesn't work that way. The cognitive dissonance is incredible. The same woman who slept with 50 men will demand a man who sees her as special and unique. How are you special when you've given yourself to everyone? How are you unique when you've done everything with everyone? But they expect men to ignore the history and treat them like untouched princesses. The defensive behaviours they criticise in men is constant. Woman gains 50 pounds after marriage. Love me for who I am. Man gains 20 pounds. He let himself go. I'm not attracted anymore. Woman has a high body count. Sex positive queen. Man has standards about partner count. Insecure and controlling. The rules constantly change based on who they benefit. I've watched women defend their friend who cheated because she wasn't getting attention at home, then crucify a man who cheated despite his wife refusing intimacy for 2 years. The exact same behaviour, seeking attention elsewhere, but completely different judgments based solely on gender. This isn't equality, it's supremacy disguised as victimhood. The attacking freely but crumbling under critique pattern is everywhere. Women will say the most vicious things about men were stupid, useless, unnecessary, toxic, dangerous. But say one factual thing about female behaviour patterns: you're a misogynist, an incel, you hate women. They can dish it out all day but absolutely cannot take it. A female colleague once told me, all men are potential rapists. When I responded that statistically, women are more likely to abuse children, she reported me to HR for creating a hostile work environment. She can make sweeping generalizations about my entire gender, but I can't cite statistics about hers. This is the modern dynamic. Women can attack, men must accept. The normalization of reckless habits among young women is disturbing. They joke about having hot girl summer with different men every weekend. They brag about their body counts like it's an achievement. They share TikToks about questionable hygiene, extreme drinking, casual drug use. Then they wonder why quality men won't commit to them. I've seen women proudly announce they don't cook, don't clean, don't want kids, don't like sex after marriage, but still expect men to marry them. What exactly are you offering? Your sparkling personality that consists of wine, Netflix, and complaining? Your deep thoughts from Instagram therapy accounts? Your collection of mental illnesses you refuse to properly address? The punishment for existing mentality some women have is insane. There was actually a proposal for a male curfew. Men shouldn't be allowed out after dark so women can feel safe. Think about that. Half the population should be under house arrest because of the actions of less than 1% of men. But suggest women should dress modestly to avoid attention. Oppression. The feminist conditioning that convinced women they don't need men has created a generation of miserable women. They were told they could have it all: career, independence, casual sex, no consequences. Now they're 35, alone, exhausted, and wondering why they're unhappy. The programming told them men were optional, but reality says otherwise. I recently saw a video of a woman apologising for believing feminist lies. She spent her 20s finding herself, her 30s building a career, and now at 42 she's realising she wanted a family all along. But it's too late. Her fertility is gone, her pair bonding ability is destroyed, and the men she wants are dating 28-year-olds. The ideology she followed led her off a cliff. The regret when independence becomes reality is palpable. Women who demanded independence are now complaining about paying their own bills, fixing their own problems, being alone. Turns out, having someone provide for and protect you is actually pretty nice. But they destroyed that dynamic, calling it oppression, and now they're suffering the consequences. A divorced woman told me she thought being single would be freedom. 6 months later, she's exhausted from working full-time, managing a household alone, dealing with car repairs, house maintenance, financial planning, all the things her ex-husband handled. "I didn't realise how much he did," she admitted. "Yeah, because you were too busy complaining about what he didn't do." The expecting high standards while rejecting male standards is peak hypocrisy. Women have lists of requirements longer than CVs, but men can't have any preferences. She needs you tall, rich, funny, fit, emotional but not weak, successful but available, dominant but not controlling. You want someone who hasn't slept with your entire friend group? You're insecure and misogynistic. The aging struggle that women face versus men is brutal but biological. A 45-year-old unmarried man with resources is a catch. A 45-year-old unmarried woman is invisible in the dating market. This isn't cruelty. It's reality. Men value youth and fertility. Women value resources and status. These increase for men with age and decrease for women. But acknowledging this is somehow hateful. Different cultures are more honest about this. In some societies, older unmarried women are literally called leftover women, while older successful men are called golden bachelors. Harsh. Yes. True. Also, yes. The modern West pretends these dynamics don't exist, but pretending doesn't change reality. The fear-based relationships where men can't lead are pathetic to watch. I see men terrified to make decisions in their own homes. They need permission to see friends, buy something for themselves, express opinions. Their wives have completely neutered them, and then these same wives complain about lack of masculine energy. You destroyed his masculinity, then wonder where it went. A client asked his wife's permission to join a gym. A grown man needing permission for basic self-improvement. She said no because she was worried he'd get attention from other women, so he stays out of shape. She loses attraction to him, and the marriage spirals. This is what happens when men fear their wives more than they respect themselves. The equality until it's uncomfortable revelation is hilarious. Women want equal pay, equal opportunities, equal treatment, until the ship is sinking. Then suddenly it's women and children first. They want to be Navy SEALs until they have to meet the same physical standards. They want combat roles until there's actual combat equality is only appealing when it's beneficial. During the pandemic, when there was talk of drafting medical workers, suddenly all the strong independent women in nursing remembered they were delicate flowers who needed protection. The same women posting "we can do anything men can do" were now explaining why they specifically shouldn't have to do this particular thing men do. The perpetual victim status society grants women is exhausting. A woman can assault a man, and people ask what he did to provoke her. A woman can destroy a man's property and it's assumed he deserved it. A woman can make false accusations that ruin lives and face no consequences. But a man defends himself verbally. He's an abuser. I watched a video where a woman was hitting a man repeatedly. He finally pushed her away. Not hit, just pushed. Comments were full of people calling him abusive. She can physically assault him, but his self-defense makes him the villain. This is modern equality. Women can do anything. Men must accept everything. The mockery of male struggles while excusing female behaviour is standard. Now man loses his job. He's a loser who can't provide. Woman quits her job to find herself. Brave queen prioritising mental health. Man lives with parents. Pathetic man-child. Woman lives with parents. Smart financial decision in this economy. Men's mental health issues are treated as weakness or danger. Women's mental health issues are treated as quirky personality traits. She has anxiety, depression, 3 personality disorders, and bipolar. She's been through so much, she needs support. He has depression. Red flag, he's broken, find someone stable. The biological realities that nobody wants to discuss are driving all of this. Women are the selectors in reproduction, men are the competitors. This created different psychological frameworks. Women evolved to be choosy, men evolved to be chosen. But modern society pretends these differences don't exist, while simultaneously reinforcing them. Women's inherent value in reproduction means they've never had to develop value elsewhere. Men have always had to prove worth through resources, protection, achievement. A woman just had to exist and be fertile. Now they still expect that existence to be enough, even when they've destroyed their fertility through lifestyle choices and age. The shock when men apply equal standards is genuine because women have never experienced it. They've been protected, provided for, and pedestalized their entire lives. When a man treats them exactly like he'd treat another man, no special consideration, no protective instincts, no chivalry, they're genuinely confused and hurt. I once treated a female colleague exactly like I treated male colleagues. Direct feedback, no sugarcoating, expectations of competence. She complained I was harsh and intimidating. I showed HR that I used the exact same language with her as with men. They still told me to consider her communication style. That's equality. Different treatment based on gender. The dating market correction that's happening is fascinating. Men are waking up to their value. They're realizing they don't need to accept horrible behavior for occasional intimacy. They're understanding that their resources, protection, and commitment have value. And women who spent years treating men as disposable are panicking. Young men are opting out entirely. They're seeing the deal. Massive responsibility with minimal authority, extreme expectations with no appreciation, lifetime financial obligation with temporary emotional support. And they're saying no. Video games, hobbies, and peace are more appealing than what modern women are offering. The response from women is telling. Instead of improving their offerings, they're doubling down on shaming. Men are lazy. Men can't handle strong women. Men are intimidated by success. No, men are making rational cost-benefit analyses and finding you're not worth the cost. The strong independent woman myth is collapsing. Turns out, most women don't want to be strong and independent. It's exhausting. They want to be taken care of while maintaining the option to leave whenever they want with half of everything. That's not independence. That's parasitism with an exit strategy. The traditional arrangement worked because both sides brought value. Men provided resources and protection, Women provided nurturing and support. Now women want men to maintain their traditional role while abandoning their own. You can't have traditional benefits with modern freedoms. Choose one. The adjustment period when women get treated equally is brutal to watch. A female friend complained that men don't offer to help her with heavy lifting anymore. What happened to chivalry, she asked. The same woman who posts about not needing men is upset when men believe her. The workplace equality paradox is hilarious. Women demanded access to male spaces and jobs. Now they complain those spaces aren't feminine enough. They enter construction and want the culture changed. They enter tech and demand it be less competitive. You want it into male spaces, but you want to feminize them once inside. The accountability allergy is perhaps the most shocking aspect. Women will blame everyone and everything before accepting responsibility. It's society, it's patriarchy, it's toxic masculinity, it's their ex, it's their childhood, it's their hormones. But it's never their choices, their behaviour, their consequences. A woman cheats? He wasn't meeting my emotional needs. A woman gains £100. Society's beauty standards are oppressive. A woman can't find a partner. There are no good men left. The gymnastics to avoid saying I made bad choices would be impressive if they weren't so destructive. The modern dating scene is just revealing what happens when women get treated like men. No special consideration, no lowered standards, no protective bubble. And they're discovering that equality isn't as fun as supremacy. Being judged on merit, held to standards, and facing consequences, that's male reality, and women hate it. The complaint that dating is harder for women now is particularly rich. Dating is harder because men have standards now, because men expect reciprocation, because men won't accept any behaviour for the possibility of sex. Welcome to equality, ladies. This is what you demanded. The truth about male-female dynamics is that they were never meant to be equal. They were meant to be complementary. Different, but balanced, each bringing unique value. But modern women want to be men while keeping female privileges. They want our roles but not our responsibilities, our authority but not our accountability. The shock when men treat women like men reveals the lie of equality. Women don't want equality. They want superiority with an equality mask. They want special treatment while claiming they don't need it. They want provision while claiming independence. They want protection while claiming strength. The solution is simple, but uncomfortable. Honest acknowledgement of biological realities and different value propositions. Men and women are different, want different things, bring different values. Pretending otherwise creates the dysfunction we see everywhere. But honesty would require women to admit they need men, and their pride won't allow it. The generational damage this is causing is immense. Young women are being taught they're perfect as is, deserve everything, and owe nothing. Young men are being taught they're toxic, dangerous, and unnecessary. Then we wonder why relationships are failing, birth rates are plummeting, and everyone's miserable. The male response is becoming increasingly indifferent. Not angry, not bitter, just indifferent. Men are realizing they don't need to play a rigged game. They're finding fulfillment elsewhere, and women are slowly realizing that male attention, provision and protection aren't rights. They're privileges earned through reciprocal value. The coming correction will be harsh. Women who spent their youth treating men as disposable utilities will age into invisibility. Men who were rejected for normal human flaws will have options. The very dynamics women exploited in their 20s will work against them in their 40s. The wall remains undefeated. Father Time is ruthless. Biology doesn't care about ideology. Men who accumulate resources become more valuable. Women who lose fertility become less valuable. This isn't opinion, it's observable reality across every culture and era. Modern women thought they could defeat nature with feminism. Nature laughs at their arrogance. The panic is already starting. Articles about "Where have all the good men gone?" multiply monthly. Dating coaches for women over 35 are making fortunes. The egg freezing industry is booming. The wine and cat industries have never been stronger. The consequences of treating men as optional are becoming undeniable. The adjustment to being treated like men is just beginning. As more men wake up to their value and stop pedestalizing women, the shock will intensify. Women who've never faced real accountability, real standards, real equality are going to struggle. But this is what they demanded, to be treated exactly like men. The victimhood narrative will intensify as the special treatment decreases. Every equal standard will be called misogyny. Every consequence will be called oppression. Every accountability will be called abuse. But men are increasingly immune to these manipulation tactics. We've heard them too often about too little. The cultural protection of female bad behavior needs to end. When a woman publicly brags about cheating, she should face the same social consequences as a man would. When she admits to using men for money, she should be called what a man would be called: a user. When she treats kindness as weakness, she should be avoided like men avoid toxic people. The reality of female violence that goes unpunished is staggering. Women initiate domestic violence at equal rates to men, but face arrest at a fraction of the rate. Women who make false accusations rarely face consequences even when proven lying. Women who destroy property, assault men, or engage in psychological abuse are excused with, "She must have been pushed to it." The male fear of their wives is creating a generation of broken men. These men can't express opinions, make decisions, or have autonomy in their own homes. They're prisoners of war in their own marriages, constantly negotiating for basic freedoms. Their wives wonder why they've lost attraction. You can't be attracted to someone you've conquered and controlled. The dating entitlement has reached absurd levels. Women genuinely believe they deserve expensive first dates from strangers. They think men should invest hundreds of dollars just for the possibility of their company. But ask them to split the bill? He's cheap, he's not serious, he doesn't value me. Your company isn't worth what you think it is. The hope is that realistic women will separate themselves from the delusional ones. Women who understand complementary dynamics, who bring actual value, who appreciate masculine contribution. They'll thrive. They'll have their pick of quality men who've opted out of dealing with entitled princesses. The future belongs to those who acknowledge reality rather than ideology. Men who understand their value and don't accept disrespect. Women who understand that relationships are exchanges requiring contribution from both sides. Couples who reject modern dysfunction for timeless dynamics that actually work. The shock when women get treated like men is just reality asserting itself. After decades of propaganda pretending men and women are identical except for genitals, truth is breaking through. The differences are real, the dynamics are biological, and no amount of social engineering can change that. Men treating women exactly like they treat men isn't misogyny, it's equality. No special consideration, no lowered standards, no protective bubble. You wanted to be treated exactly like men? Congratulations, you're getting it. The fact that you hate it reveals everything about what you actually wanted. Supremacy disguised as equality. The lesson for men is simple. Treat women exactly as they claim they want to be treated. Like men. With the same standards, expectations, and accountability. Watch how quickly they abandon equality rhetoric for traditional gender roles. Watch how fast "I don't need a man" becomes "Where have all the real men gone?" The lesson for women is harder. You can't have it both ways. Either you're strong and independent and get treated like men, or you're feminine and traditional and get male protection and provision. Choose one and stick with it. The mixing and matching based on convenience is over. Men are done with that game. I want to hear your stories. When did you start treating women exactly like men? What was their reaction to genuine equality? When did you realize they wanted special treatment, not equal treatment? Drop your experiences in the comments. Let's document the reality of what happens when women actually get the equality they claim to want.